This tweet by Elon Tesla and even 6 billion donation can't end global hunger. UN or unnecessary narratives. World Food Programme's executive director David pointed out that the headline "Solve Global Hunger" was not totally accurate. It was a clickbait. These media organizations are doing everything to get people to read fake news and in turn make money. I mean, this guy is so down to Mars. I'm a big fan of Elon Tesla. My greatest failure was getting low grades on a midterm exam. His greatest failure was that he blew up 3 rockets. Elon Tesla is the first person to be worth more than 300 billion US dollars. His net worth right now is $326 billion. David kicked off the discussion by speaking to CNN for an article that ran with a headline 2% of Elon Musk wealth could help solve world hunger. But that headline is false and clickbait. But is this tweet also a clickbait? I personally think Elon Tesla is a genuine guy. But this huge figure of 6 billion is not enough to end global hunger. David called on the world's richest men like Jeffrey Amazon and Elon Tesla for support. The $6 billion would help avoid geopolitical instability, mass migration, and save 42 million people on the verge of starvation. But this whole Twitter conversation has also helped shine a light on how significantly the world's billionaire could help tackle global issues by donating just a small fraction of their wealth. There are 2,755 billionaires in the world today with an estimated combined wealth of $13.2 trillion. Even just 1% of this wealth could give a flow of 130 billion per year. This can be compared with annual official aid of roughly $160 billion from all countries and multilateral institutes combined. Looking for billionaire contribution has progressed from nice to have niche enhancement to being a part of the discussion about how to fund large-scale global challenges. This figure provides some estimates of the cost of solving selected global problems. For example, 95 billion could be enough to eradicate extreme poverty for all the 708 million people in the world living below the international figure of $1.90 per person per day. And yes, a 1% contribution from the world's billionaires could provide more than enough resources to end extreme poverty today. This figure also shows how each issue would cost less than 1% of the world's billionaires' wealth and would affect hundreds of millions and in some cases even billions of lives. The issue of solving world hunger has a range of estimates, partly because solving hunger is not simply about having enough food, but about having constant access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. And the food should also be grown in sustainable way. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, also called FAO, estimates that annual investment of $39 billion to $50 billion would be required to achieve a world without hunger by 2030. And this includes both the 800 million people suffering from acute food insecurity and the 1.5 billion additional people suffering from moderate food insecurity. Acute food insecurity is when a person's inability to consume food puts their lives or livelihoods in immediate danger. The number of people facing acute food insecurity and needing urgent life and livelihood saving assistance has hit a 5-year high in 2020. Moderate food insecurity is the compromise in quality or quantity of food due to lack of money for food. So the next time you see a plate full of salad, don't carry a lot of emotional cabbage and be grateful. The combination of Tony Stark and Tesla, aka Tony Tesla or Elon Tesla by himself, may not be able to solve these problems, but the collective of world's billionaires now have sufficient wealth, and this raises the question of the responsibility of billionaires in terms of contributing back to the system that has enabled them to become so wealthy, either by willingly supporting their own solution or by paying higher taxes. The issue of inequality in global wealth and the issue of sustainable development and basic living standards for billions of world's poorest people have become interlinked with each other. For the first time in history, a small group of private individuals could impact global development at a scale that has previously never been done before. Omik Haras, an expert on global economy and development, says Elon Tesla's willingness to sell Tesla stock to fund a good cause is welcome. But if he wishes to engage in solving truly large and deep problems such as global hunger, he would need to build or support an organization that could sustain financing over many years. For example, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Experience shows that successful approaches must be institutionalized. Effective and impactful funding require an organizational structure to govern the flow of funds, and this takes time to create. The World Food Programme blames the hunger crisis toxic cocktail of conflict, climate change, disaster, structural poverty, and inequality. COVID-19 has only made it worse. Moreover, according to the organization, famine is declared when at least 20% of the households in an area face extreme food shortages. At least 30% of the kids are malnourished, and daily death from starvation rate is greater than 2 people per 10,000. In Afghanistan alone, the United Nations has warned that more than 1 million children could die from malnutrition if the country doesn't receive humanitarian assistance soon. Moreover, in Afghanistan, roughly 95% of the families do not have enough food. In Haiti, a country suffering from political, social, and economic instability, roughly half of the population is food insecure. If the world's top 400 billionaires helped, all it would take to prevent famine is 0.36% of their total wealth. Moreover, a report by Brookings Institute shows that to end global poverty and hunger, we have to invest in peace. In simple terms, it means war equals higher poverty levels. Poverty is becoming concentrated in countries marked by conflict. New World Bank estimates show that by 2030, up to two-thirds of the extreme poor worldwide will be living in these situations, although they account for just 10% of the global population. Conflict and violence would reverse the development gains in many developing countries. The new estimates find that the number of people living near conflict has nearly doubled since 2007. One area to work on is crisis prevention, which means proactively addressing the root causes that drive conflict before they turn into a full-blown crisis. Prevention is therefore a critical pillar of the World Bank new strategy because it saves both lives and resources. UN and World Bank estimates show that $1 invested in prevention saves $16 down the line. 193 countries of UN or unnecessary narrative have signed an agreement committing to end all forms of malnutrition by 2030. Since adoption of this goal in 2015, the UN reports that hunger is on the rise for the third consecutive year, and little progress is being made in countering overweight and obesity among children under the age of 5. These are the countries that are suffering from hunger the most. And you believe that the 50% population of these countries are suffering from hunger? That is why I have nicknamed UN as unnecessary narrative. Hunger is most dangerous to children. Hunger also causes stunted growth in 149 million children. These factors can even lead to death. Pedro Sanchez, an expert at Hunger Task Force, says starvation only accounts for about 8% of the hungry people in the world. The other 92% suffer from hunger silently, and they die in large numbers because of malnutrition related diseases. Job creation and increased wages also have a positive impact on reducing hunger. Bad weather and disease outbreaks increases hunger. There is no one problem causing hunger, and there is also no one solution to reducing hunger rate. But this Twitter thread is a very good initiative for sure, as the person sitting on the top of the most amount of money is willing to sell stocks to reduce hunger, and other selfish billionaires should also come ahead and join to fight for a greater cause.